Williams and Blum Sunday pod, but it's not on Sunday. We're recording this on Friday morning, the 22nd. I hope you guys, do our listeners, Bloom, I know they're very passionate about the show. Do they expect us to record on Christmas Eve night like we normally do?
I mean, Santa delivers, so why can't
This
we?
is true. Well, we are delivering just a few
Just
days.
a couple days earlier.
A few days earlier, we're presented as always by our friends at Mechdyne, enabling discovery. Mechdyne, Mechdyne.com. We are a little bit of an abbreviated version of the show again for obvious reasons. There's a lot happening. I'm heading to Memphis on the 26th. Bloom, you're coming down what, the 27th?
Correct.
Also want to tip everybody off to it. We will have our Liberty Bowl preview show that will air on the 26th. And just keep an eye out for Cyclone Fanatic social media feeds where you will have the information on how to view that, listen to that. It'll be up on YouTube, all that good stuff. It's already been recorded. Jeff Woody and I do a lot of analysis on bowl prep for Iowa State and what that might look like. And then Bloom and I do a breakdown of the matchup against Memphis. I want to thank all of our great sponsors that we've had here on this will not be the final Williams and Bloom of 2023, but it's close. Mechdyne, of course. Terraplex Ag came on board this year, and they've been an awesome partner as we continue to teach our agriculture community about the benefits of drone technology. Terraplex Ag, and also Colin Newell Insurance. I'll be ready to roll with him. He's saving me $1,000 in 2024. He told me that after last Sunday's show, he had 7 people reach out to him. Hey, saving Williams at grand. What are you going to save me, Colin Newell?
Yeah. You mean with one of Brock Purdy? I mean the amount of money that guy might be making. I don't know if the $1,000 means as much to Brock in 18 months, but it does now because he's still very much underpaid. Brock Purdy.
No doubt about that. So I went to the basketball game on Thursday night, and I actually had a different vantage point that I normally do. I did what you do a lot. I took the kids.
Yeah.
Took the kids, sat in the stands, and just kind of sat back and watched the game. A little bit of I won't call the first half ugly. They were leading by 13, but I could tell that this will be a deal where Otzelberger can just ream them at halftime, that they're not playing a good enough defense or whatever his deal is at that point, and then that they were going to come out on fire, which is exactly what happened, Bloom. We don't need to break this game down per se, but I do have some pockets of analysis on Iowa State basketball over these last couple of bye games. And boy, the first one for me is if this is the Curtis Jones Iowa State has the rest of the year, and so selfishly, I'm really glad he's doing this because we told you guys all off season how good of a shooter he was.
Right. We look like idiots there for 4 games.
But he does those first couple of weeks, he looked like a guy who was really moving fast. He didn't look comfortable out there. And boy, if you take him and Jackson Paveletzke the first 2 weeks and you compare them to now, those two guys deserve a lot of credit for how far they've come.
No doubt. And Curtis now, man, everything he shoots looks like it's going in. Like his form, by the way, is just perfect. It's effortless. Yeah. I'm watching the game last night and it felt like a layup in that first half because it's like everything was smooth, efficient, and it did help that he wasn't really guarded very much by Eastern Illinois. So not sure how they lost him on the scouting report. But the other thing, C-Dub, what Paveletzke's giving them is Iowa State has really gone to this 4-guard thing, at least against some of these smaller schools. And thus, Curtis and Taman are getting wide open threes, which are a lot easier to make than guarded threes. And so I think, yes, Curtis is gotten more comfortable, but you have to credit the flow of the offense, which has looked so much better since Orlando. And I think Paveletzke is a big reason why. You get a catch and shoot 3 with nobody around you. Curtis Jones is just going to make it. Even Taman made 5 of them on Sunday, made a couple more yesterday. Paveletzke's ball movement is really, really helped this offense. And I think that has been a big factor of why Iowa State has been so efficient the last month.
Feels like Paveletzke's the guy who, in hockey, they do the double assist.
Yes,
He's
exactly.
the double assist guy on this team, right?
He feels like to me, and this is a kind of a weird comp, but I'm going to do it. He feels like Monte Morris as a freshman when Monte was playing with DeAndre Kane and Melvin Edgem and those guys. In that, at some point, you're like, just keep Monte on the floor because good things happen when he's out there, even though Fred necessarily didn't plan on playing him that much. I think TJ's getting to that point with Pav. It's like things just go well when Pav is on the floor, and I think it's a credit to him. He always plays hard. That's not a question, but he's defended well enough. And the offense, if you look at Iowa State's tempo when he's on the floor as compared to when he's not on the floor, it is different. It's different. And so I
Yeah.
think he just gives you another dimension. The question for him would be, can he hold up defensively once you get into the Big 12? And we'll see. And that's where some of those other bigs are going to have to probably step in. And the interesting part for Iowa State is really only played 7 guys in the meaningful minutes yesterday, which was kind of strange to me. But it seems like TJ's trying to iron out this rotation. The 7+ Ward is kind of who's going to be the go-to guys, at least early. But Paveletzke is definitely in that conversation now, and he was not 3 weeks ago. So credit to him and his improvement, but also his comfort level in there of just making the right play at the right time.
A couple other things I noticed kind of sitting up and paying attention like I was so Keyshawn Gilbert only attempts 3 shots in Thursday night's win. His on-ball defense is insane. And when you look at him, Jones, and there was a play that Momcilovic made defensively, and granted, I know who they're playing. Okay, so this obviously all changes in 2 weeks, but so I always tell people with these bye games, watch what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a basketball guy or gal out there, watch what they're doing because you're watching scrimmages. Is how I look at this, and you can tell that how much better the perimeter defense is now compared to even 3 weeks ago with this Iowa State team. I think that the Paul game was eye-opening, the way DePaul came out and scored in that first half, and I think it gave him a lot of good tape. I wasn't as freaking out about the Virginia Tech and who else did they lose to out there?
A&M.
Texas A&M games. There were a lot of guys in those games hitting shots that don't normally. It's kind of like whatever. I don't know. I don't know where this team ends up defensively, but after the DePaul game, I didn't think that they would end up top 30 defense. I think that they got a real shot to be top 25 now. I don't think it's an elite top 5 at the end of the year because of your tempo, because of the pace and all that stuff. But they're much, much, much better, and this is still all without Hassan Ward coming back.
Great point. And still second in the nation in turnover percentage, second in the nation in steal percentage. And there is where Iowa State's going to be great this year, is those guards out front causing chaos. And Taman is like Troy Polamalu with the way that he just is in the right place every single time. He is the everything that Iowa State needs defensively as well. You throw great defenders like Gilbert, Jones, then like you said, Milan's been better. He's gotten better. Like
Yeah, much better.
yeah, and then Trey's solid. Rob's going to be solid. I think the big question I have, C-Dub, is when you start playing teams with size, they're going to attack Iowa State because Iowa State is not big. Now that's where Ward comes in. But the problem is if you play Ward and Jones or Ward and King at the same time, then your offense gets bogged down a little bit. So what is going to be the money rotation for Iowa State? What's the balance between offense and defense? I think the Iowa State defense can be really good, but you start playing the TCUs and the Baylors and the Kansases that can roll 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot at you that are athletic. Can Milan hold up against that as a 4? I don't know. And so or can Pav hold up? And that's is where it's going to get interesting. It works against Eastern Illinois, New Hampshire, but we'll see what Iowa State's defensive metrics look like once you start playing the meat of the Big 12, and how much is Iowa State willing to sacrifice average defense in order to have good ball movement on offense. And that's the biggest question I have for Iowa State in 2024.
No doubt. I couldn't have said it better. Currently 10 in KenPom. Are they 5 in the net? I haven't looked at the
I
net
didn't look
today.
this morning. They were 5 yesterday.
Let me ask you this. So KenPom's projection has Iowa State 11-7 in the Big 12,
I would sign up right now, buddy boy.
22-9 overall. That's what I was going to ask. Like, would you take that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In 22-9, 11-7 would you get you a 3 or 4 seed? Honestly, I'm looking at the Big 12 this year. I think anything 10 wins or better would be a great conference season. So everyone's taking lumps. Everyone's going to get beat. I don't know who's the best team in the Big 12. I think it's super interesting. I think Kansas. I don't believe Kansas is as good as it was last year. I watched most of their game against Indiana, but credit their toughness to win that game. I think Houston hasn't really been tested yet. They did beat A&M. We'll see about them. TCU's flying under the radar. There are some teams that you're just not sure about. BYU, I don't know. I think Iowa State can be a top half team for sure, but you're going to have some grinders along the way that are really stressful. And I said it a couple weeks ago, and I still believe it's the case. I think Iowa State can potentially run the table at home or maybe even lose just one game. And if that's the case, you're definitely going to be in the thick of things.
Here's the stat for you. Currently, 5 of the top 10 teams in adjusted defense reside in the Big 12.
Oh boy.
So that, like you said, that
you're
gets
gonna have some battles now.
well, and that's where it's like, okay, Jones and Paveletzke have kind of come on, and they're starting to look comfortable and all this stuff. Well, they're going up to a level now in a week that they've never seen before.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah, you go from and that's the concern with this schedule right now is
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
you go down the road to Norman, it's gonna be a little bit different than seeing the guys Eastern Illinois was running out there. But
And
see,
your
to
one
my
big win was Iowa, and they don't
was
play defense.
they don't play right. And they're not physical at all. And this is
No.
where that's again back to my okay, how much defense do you want to sacrifice to get offense? 'Cause I think Iowa State can score. With its guard lineup, it can score, but you also might be giving up a lot on the other end. But right now, this is where Hilton comes into play. Iowa State's predicted to go 11-7. It's only predicted to lose one game at home the rest of the way, and that is a 3-point loss to Houston in game number 2. So Hilton's got to be key. You got to be locked in. You got to have the crowd into it. And I think this Iowa State, even as an undersized guards, can really cause havoc when that place is jumping. And I know it's going to be.
Maybe do a little Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment here. Plant your independence, baby. Plant Wiffles, great sponsor of Williams and Blum here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. Are you a believer in BYU?
I
5th in
haven't
KenPom?
I haven't seen him enough, but man, you look at their resume and it's good. Now, they're doing a little bit what Iowa State's done, in that they're destroying bad teams, which has really
Yeah.
helped. They've got a nice
San Diego
win.
State, Arizona State, NC State are their best wins. So they have better wins than Iowa State.
Yeah, and totally agree. But the one team that they played outside of San Diego State that's in the top 40 was Utah and lost. So that's their one loss. Um,
By
I don't
4.
know. I don't know what to make of them. I haven't seen them enough, honestly. They were not supposed to be this good. But you don't fluke into 30-point wins against Arizona State. They've got guys. And I think Mark
Mhm.
Pope's a really good coach. And obviously, similar to Hilton, that place is a tough place to play, and it's going to be. So I don't think they're going to lose a whole lot at home.
So if Kansas is 1 as far as toughest places to play, which I think it has to be, Iowa State and Kansas State are probably right there, I would say, together. Are we putting BYU right there in that
Yeah,
category with Iowa
yeah,
State and Kansas State? I think
yeah.
I would too.
We are, and when Tech's good, that's up there too. But when they're not good, that's not as tough. No question. Same with West Virginia. When West Virginia's good, tough place to play. When they're not good, not as much. Yeah, they're top 4. I totally agree because you're dealing with altitude, and that place is sold out, and they got 19,000 people there.
Well, and
So
it's a little bit too. No, I know that they have an NBA team. But there's like the college sports thing in Utah really matters.
Absolutely. No,
You know,
they sell
especially
out.
BYU.
They sell out everything, even the randoms. So that place, that's not Iowa State goes there win on
January the 16th, Tuesday night.
man, that's again, you look at Iowa State's first four, that Oklahoma State game at home is nice. You should be able to get that one, but otherwise, if you split those four, I think you're in really good shape right off the bat. So,
Do you believe in Oklahoma?
not as much. Not as much. I
Kind of
believe
feel
in
like they're a fade or two.
Yeah, and again, their home crowd's not good enough. Could Iowa State lose that game? Absolutely. But I think at the end of the year, they're going to be more towards the middle, the back end of the Big 12.
Okay.
But I like C-Dub. I've watched a lot of Houston. I don't know if they're as good as they were last year, but like I keep saying, they similar to Iowa State, they beat up on bad teams, but you don't fluke into being number one in KenPom. You just don't do it. They're going to be really good. Kansas has guys. Texas has talent. I don't believe Texas is as good as it was last year. Cincinnati's impressed me a couple times I've watched them. Baylor's got some dudes. I believe the league's down a little bit from last year, but it's still by and away the best league. And I just think 1 through 14, there's just not a gimme outside of maybe Oklahoma State at home right now.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all with that. I think that there's probably a lot of teams too where I'm guessing a lot of fans have been like, "Oh, I've watched Baylor twice against Duke and Michigan State," and they think that they suck, and then all of a sudden, where Drew's going to have that team in the middle of February. I think Dixon's one of the maybe more underrated coaches in college basketball with what he's done there. I still don't know a ton about the newcomers. Central Florida seems to be much better than what we anticipated they
Yeah,
would
they're
be.
okay. Yep. They
And
struggled. See, they struggled last night with Florida A&M, though.
Central Florida did?
Yeah.
That
Ended up being
Florida
like
A&M
10.
team's terrible.
They're horrible. Now, again, last game before Christmas. I get it. Not going to judge too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
K-State's down, though. They've got some situations there. Jerome Tang to Louisville.
Really? Have you been hearing that?
That's been the murmurs.
I did this on we do a lot of sports business here, so I'll throw this out to you. I have a Big 12 theory on everything that's going to happen. So if Florida State blows up the ACC, which there's a lot that has to happen for this to go down, okay? I did a whole 20-minute analysis, just a monologue on Iowa Everywhere today, if you guys want to go and listen to this. Big 12-wise, this is where I think it ends up. You're going to have Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Virginia end up in the Big 12 or Big 10 or the SEC in some capacity.
Yep.
It's Miami, Louisville, Pitt, and there was a 4 in Duke. All basketball products ending up in the Big 12. What do you think about that? Get you to 20.
Man, what 4 do you pick? I mean, if Miami's there, you take Miami. You just do.
You have to, and it legitimizes Central Florida down there. Like you have to take Miami.
Duke would fit the Yormark brand, what he's looking for sure. And then Pitt's with West Virginia and Cincinnati.
You get that rivalry back.
And Louisville's right there too.
Louisville just makes sense geographically. Basketball school.
Where does NC State go? Are they gone? I mean, Wake Forest. That's the thing, Chris. I totally agree with your sentiment. You've been dead on throughout this whole process. Somebody is getting eliminated along with Washington State and Oregon State. Not everybody's going to make it here. And that's why it's critical to remain competitive right now. And I don't know. Yeah, what do those ACC schools get left out?
Wake Forest. Boston College.
Yeah. I'd say those Syracuse.
Syracuse, maybe. I could see Yormark wanting Syracuse.
Yes, you can.
Oh, we're gonna get New York.
We're getting New York City.
I just think that this will be a lot like what we saw with the Pac-12, where like the Big 12 never really thought it would get Washington and Oregon, but it will gladly take the next 4.
It's
And
just
then you may
interesting.
be
Yeah.
done. You end up with 3 20-team leagues, and that's it.
Another one to think about, SMU.
Yeah.
You take an SMU over Louisville.
No. Do
Oh
you?
man, that'd be interesting. It's like Hunger Games, man. Like you got to decide who you want of the four.
Well, and like, what kind of a deal do these things cut you? Like, are you offering them full
No,
shares like you
you're not.
did the Pac-12? You
You're
can't,
not.
right? Really? I
Mm-mm.
mean,
No, you don't have enough to go
because the
around.
current Big 12 schools already kind of took a bath on that, where they all
That
lost. Like,
still hasn't really been talked about. But yeah, Iowa State hasn't been shy to share this, but it's the first year or two of the new Pac-12 schools. Iowa State's took less money to be fair to split that up. So actually, Iowa State's budget next year will be down. I think I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's almost $10 million
I heard
because
$7 million.
$7 million. Yeah, because the sharing, they let these schools have the full share. Thus, the pie is broken up into two more mouths to feed, and so everybody had to take a cut. But yeah, I don't know if you can keep doing that, C-Dub. You do it
That's
to
where I think
survive.
they start to contract schools at
Yeah.
some point, but especially if these grant of rights don't actually mean anything anymore. Like, hello.
Oh boy. What
What
if
does
yeah,
Purdue really have value to the Big Ten at that point? Like, I don't know.
gosh,
Does
that's
does
man,
Vanderbilt have a home in
if
the
the grant
SEC, or
if
are you getting kicked out?
and honestly, if the grant of rights go away, and that's what Florida State's challenging right now, and it got approved today by their board. Um, you better be good in football and basketball for the next couple of years, right? I mean,
Yeah,
kind of
all hell's
scary,
gonna break
actually.
loose.
Yeah, it's kind of scary because the whole model could change on a whim if you don't have grant of rights
Yeah, the grant of rights is like the glue that has always held everything together, and if that doesn't mean anything anymore, everything is up for grabs.
on the table.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't want to be Northwestern, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, any of those schools if that's the case.
no,
Oh boy.
even in the Big 12, it's like, what if
No guarantee for even an Iowa State. Like you better be
no?
good. I'm saying you better be good in the next couple years. And
Yeah,
that's why I keep banging the drum of like, God, we just need to hold on until this whole thing gets guardrails and regulations because somebody's getting left out. The music's going to stop and somebody's not going to have a chair. And it could be multiple schools, and you better hope you're one of them.
also want to thank our friends at the Ivy College of Business for sponsoring Williams and Bloom. You could go get yourself an MBA in 2024. You can do it all online. We will be tonight when I'm done with all of my work. I will be cracking open a bottle of Cody Road, and we will be enjoying the holidays together. Bloom, do you want to come over on Christmas Eve and have a Cody Road with me?
No, I would love to, my friend, but I'll be up in Northwest Iowa.
Ah, yes.
Now, I am in a house, and I don't think any of my relatives will be listening to this, so I can share this. I'm going to be in a house with, I think, 14 people, including
It's a lot of people.
7 children.
You need some Cody Road.
I'm bringing my own bottles. I'm gonna bring several bottles. I don't have to go
That's a good
anywhere.
move.
It's literally a acreage in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not driving anywhere. I'm parking myself on a couch with Cody Road and earplugs.
That doesn't sound too bad at all.
No.
All right. I know it's abbreviated. We appreciate you guys. Enjoy times with your families. We will see you all down in Memphis. Remember, our bowl preview show will be released on the 26th. Just keep an eye out for Cyclone Fanatic social media feeds. We'll tell you how, when, and where to watch that. Love you, Bloom. Happy holidays.
Merry
Appreciate
Christmas,
all of you
everybody.
guys for listening, and we will be back soon.